I'm Matt Ziegler, founder and president of High Res Public Relations. Um, Looking at my image here as the presenter, I'm reminded of another great quote from A League of Their Own when Rosie O'Donnell is showing a picture of her boyfriend, and someone says, "Oh, is that picture blurry?" And she says, "No, that's just how he looks." So I promise I'm not that blurry in real life, but and ironic that I founded a company called High Res. Um, Nonetheless, I digress. Um, Short and the long of it, as some of you listening may already know from working with me, I get people in the news. Um, Same places you would see ads, but what you intended to see in the first place, as opposed to the ad. It could be print online, could be TV, radio, podcast. I went off on my own about 2.5 years ago and started High Res PR. Previously did Samsung's B2B mobile. Before that, did about 5 years in the franchise PR space with individual franchisees or the corporate franchisors, kind of both sides of that equation. So networks were nothing new to me. First, I want to kick off with like what's confusing about PR and media relations in the marketing arena and kind of bringing some clarity as to like what it is. A lot of people, I'll talk with them about media relations or public relations, and they say, "Oh, I do advertising with such and such," or "Oh, we do that through social media," and that's kind of that's not the right way of seeing PR, and people think it's like synonymous to marketing. PR is specifically media relations, is getting in or on the news. At least how I approach it. There's a lot it's a slice of the pie. There's a lot. Public relations is really just how you face the public in its totality. Could be like government relations, could be crisis management, could be reputation or brand management. It's anything. Finance factors in like financial relations, investor relations. Media relations is whether it's on TV, print online, radio, podcast, anywhere where you would see ads. It's actually the content that you intended to see in the first place. Like you actually are part of the news broadcast being interviewed, or you're being interviewed by the written reporter online or in print, and you're talked about in the article. In that vein, it's the purpose is like marketing or advertising or social. It's brand awareness and exposure. Um, and second to that, it's very complimentary if you get a PR hit to put it in like a direct mail piece, like Megan will talk about later, or like for it to be used for physician referral focuses, like Lanissa will talk about later. Guillermo often adds like in the news tabs for clients and lists out the PR placements. Like check us out in ABC4 or NBC7. And you can put these on social media, in newsletter blasts, email blasts. There's a lot of extra mileage you can get aside from the initial placements themselves. So I want to show you all some examples of what that looks like, as well as how it's people say it's an art, not a science, but we're trying to quantify this art as much as possible in terms of ROI and effect. So I want to show you both some of those. Can you all see my screen here okay? Great. So this is Kristen. She is an audiologist with prescription hearing. So this is an example of her being on WGN. She's actually interviewed by the host, Jewel Hillary. So there's a video broadcast that they put online after it aired on air on TV in her market, Chicago. And they did her a nice solid here by showing her address and website and Facebook page, like in the actual written news content. And then it says, prescription hearing, and it's hyperlinked. So it's educational in nature. This topic was about the recent findings of tinnitus and hearing loss, like Apple had done a study. So with media relations, you can't just do like we're buying one, buy one, get one free or any kind of ad language. It's got to be educational for viewers. And this was just that, but it does her the same justice of brand awareness and exposure, just as if like an ad would. This is just a snip of a case study of that same client. So working with them, they had a 276% increase in web traffic, directly correlated to this. And with their SEO, social, and like Guillermo's work on the website that he was showing, it just gets a lot of extra mileage out of these PR placements. She had 22 news stories with me. It drove the purchase, really the main piece of the bread, like the bread and butter of what you would want to see as a hearing care provider. Like it drove 20 to 30 more unit sales per month for hearing aids for her. So if that's not proof of concept, I don't know what is. This is a different client out in Baltimore. So she was on WTOP. So this was a radio spot as well. Can you guys still see me? I'm freezing. Okay, good. This was a radio spot as well as a written online story thereafter. Her name is Brittany. She's an audiologist in Maryland. So it talks about her clinic here. It names it. There's a radio version of this online story. And again, like it's educational. So the harm your kids' headphones could be doing to their ears. It's not like I'm doing a great big special and sale. Come on into my clinic. This is proof of her concept. All of these little images next to these spikes are representative of web spikes at the same date and time that her news stories popped. So she had these huge spikes in web activity going to her site and booking appointments, 211 new users versus a total of only 223 over that time when each of these media placements came out for her that we worked on together. And then just the last one here. DC, I work with an audiologist in the Northern Virginia, DC area, hearing doctors. This piece was about how you could live longer from wearing hearing aids. USC had a study that I jumped on as a newsworthy and timely peg for them. Got them an interview with Chris Flanagan in DC, who wrote up this piece. He hyperlinked their website, which is always a nice add-on, but not a requirement in a news story because it is editorial. And it's all about her being quoted throughout this whole piece. And this was also a TV spot. I'll spare you, but it goes on here where it was on air and then online too. And just one more quick view, like this was their bumps in web spike and traffic over that same time that we were working together too. So a lot more appointments scheduled, a lot more hearing aids sold.
Matt, one quick question too for you. I think the way you come up with pitch angles is very unique with media. And, I know we showed several hearing care practice examples, but you've done physical therapy, stretch, I think you had dental or so. I mean, you've had an array of different medical based clients. I think maybe talking about how you get to know a client and then get to know their community, because sometimes what goes on in the community affects what you pitch. Chicago and NASCAR, right? Like that was an event for protecting your hearing. But if you could break that down a little bit, so people just know how your process works too.
Sure. Yeah. So when you sign up, you do a long intake call with your PR rep. The purpose is like to kind of get lost in the weeds on purpose and to leave it up to us for what's newsworthy and timely. If you have a media relations rep who's ever coming to you and saying like, so tell me, what do you have going on? That's nice, but like it should be up to people like me to have like an eye for what's newsworthy and what's timely. I once did a client out in Arizona, in Prescott, and there was a thin dust that was notorious in the air, and we got a hearing aid piece in the Prescott Daily Courier about how the dust is impacting hearing aids and how it leads to more frequent cleaning. So, but he didn't have to come up with that. That's what I do, and that's my role. It's news, so it needs to be timely and newsworthy, like I was saying, and Brian is echoing. And really, another point to make is a lot of people think I'm not ready for that. Like I don't have a big award coming up, or I don't have like a big new partnership, or like a new office I'm opening, or a new clinic. That's not what you need. You need just a PR rep that is like keeping a close eye and ear to like trending stories and topics. If there's a timely study out, like right now, there's the Apple AirPods doubling as a hearing aid that just got launched. there's nothing better to be talking about. And news doesn't want to hear about your awards or your new clinic opening or that kind of stuff anyway. It's a little more promotional. So if you've got your website up and running from Guillermo and you're ready for eyeballs to be on you, and people to be searching you after they see this kind of stuff or read this kind of stuff, you're ready. Don't think like, well, I'm not interesting enough for PR or I'm too boring or I don't know what's newsworthy about me. That's for like people like me to bring to you as a client.
Yep. Um, Last thing for you, media prep. I know getting on
Yeah.
TV is not always the easiest. The first one's
Yeah.
usually the toughest. I mean, I know public speaking for all of us can be a challenge, but um, obviously preparation helps. So what does that look like too for how you get people
Yeah.
kind of ready to go for media?
Yeah. If it's anything from like a big in studio live TV segment all the way to like a written reporter saying, yeah, I'll talk with them on the phone for 10 or 15 minutes. I don't think I have anything planned, but sure I'll get to know them and what they do. Like media prep, the 101 of what to do, say, where. Um, we go over that top to bottom before both ends of the spectrum and as often as you'd like. People get into a good flow after the first, second, third interview, at least of that type of medium, like if it's the third TV one or the third phone call with a written reporter or the third radio spot. But yeah, we go over like the most minute things, like not having a pattern on your shirt. Like I have polka dots right now because supposedly it's distracting for the eye. Do I think that'll make or break a single person coming in clinic or lack thereof because they saw polka dots? Nope. But it's the rule of thumb. So like the minute details all the way to like these are the key messages we want to make sure that you say at least at one point during the interview. Like we give no cost hearing screenings for anyone who comes in, or like you need to have a baseline test for a hearing screening, even if you don't suspect any hearing loss. And we offer these in clinic all the time, or something like that, where it's like the soup to nuts of media prep and everything in between.